breakfast. Time now to bring on Vincent Heeringa from Idealog magazine, idealog.co.nz. Morning, Vincent.
Good morning, Wemo. How are you?
Good, not too bad. Now today, it's kind of like the Groundhog Day, I suppose. It's where they bring out the Reserve Bank governor in a little cage, and then they ask him whether or not inflation, the official cash rate, is going to go up or down because of the current inflation rate at the moment. And then he tells us whether or not we're going to get 6 weeks more of low interest rates. Something like that.
What do you say, up?
Yeah,
down?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah.
Quite complicated. It takes you a whole month to figure that one out.
That's right. But we do have relatively high inflation at the moment.
It's a very strange economy, Wemo, and I'm no economist, so I'm going to be talking from a lay perspective. Although on our fancy new website, you'll see that we do have good economic data and commentary, but I thought I'd try and make sense of it this morning. So we have inflation that is the highest it's been for 21 years. It hasn't been this high since 1990.
What was happening in 1990?
1990, that was the Commonwealth Games in Auckland.
Yeah. We brought out the new $1 and $2 coins.
We did. Was that too late for had the Smiths broken up by then?
I'd say so, I think. Oh,
88, I think they broke up.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Interesting time.
I don't remember it being a great time for music.
No, a bit of an in-betweener time. Grunge was on the horizon.
Yes, it was. Elvis Costello brought out Mighty Like a Rose. I think.
Yeah.
That was a great album. Anywho, so what makes inflation go up is all sorts of things, but why are we having such high inflation, and what does it mean for us as consumers?
Well, it's meant to mean more expensive products and services, right?
That's exactly what it is. In fact, that's exactly what inflation is that the price of things goes up. And the reason that it's so high is there's kind of good news and bad news, Wemo, that the bad news is that it is high, and that means that the Reserve Bank are forced by mandate, by statutory requirement to do something about it. They typically will raise interest rates to try and bring down inflation. And so today is going to be the announcement, and most people are not expecting him to raise rates this time around, but they will. They are next time around, next time will be December.
Yeah.
And the reason that they're not expecting it to go up this time, Wemo, is because there's some really peculiar things about the economy happening at the moment.
Is there a what? Is there a what? What about this American dollar? What are we, 87 cents at the moment?
Yeah, well, that's a really good example. So, our exporters are really struggling. But on the plus side, because we're such a heavy importing nation, our imports is getting cheaper, particularly ones that are traded in American dollars.
But effectively, if our dollar wasn't so high against the American, we'd see maybe double the inflation from what we have now. We're on 5.3. We could be seeing pushing 10. We're being cushioned by this high New Zealand dollar, right?
A little bit, but there are some one-off things like you may remember GST went up to 15%. That's taken care of a big chunk of it.
Right.
In fact, if you take the GST component out, it drops down to just over 3%, about 3.3%, I believe. So that's a kind of a one-off. Which
would be closer to the band that the Reserve Bank governor likes to keep it in, yeah?
Yes, 1 to 3% is his requirement. Plus you've got this incredibly bizarre spike in commodity prices, like tomatoes, for instance. I think, let me just bring up the right tab, but tomatoes are up something like 64%.
But those are winter prices as well, with also, of course, the effects of the storms in Australia.
Yeah, but I think that's what it is. There are you combine the the squeeze on from natural disasters. Petrol is all the drama of the earthquakes and the Rugby World Cup. Nobody's noticed that petrol has peaked since 2008 high.
And it should be higher if it wasn't for the high New Zealand dollar once again.
Well, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Although there's one little complication to that, and that's that the New Zealand dollar is high, but relative to the US dollar, which is low, relative to everybody.
Right.
It as much reflects the strength of our economy as the weakness of the American economy.
Yes.
But yeah, you're right. It would be higher if our dollar wasn't performing so well.
And of course that has flow-on effects to basically all goods and services in New Zealand.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, everything is powered by oil.
Yeah.
We know that.
Yeah.
That's why you didn't even meet a poor oil baron, do you?
Yeah.
But there's one other really good thing that is part of that high inflation figure, Wemo, and that is that actually the economy is growing. We have demonstrated quite solid growth, and what's quite heartening is that the expected kind of negative effects of Canterbury have not been as negative as expected. And all the suggestions are that the economy finally is picking up. People are buying more. People are feeling more confident. Prices of houses are steadying, if not growing. Employment is picking up.
I don't know if the price of houses going up is a good sign, though, really, is it? It shows that people's habits just really haven't changed, and people are still going out there and investing in property.
Well, I suppose the thing is irrational exuberance. That's the thing that we've got to watch out for. But
Yeah.
the price of houses going up actually reflects, more than anything else, that there still aren't enough houses for the population, particularly in Auckland. The housing stock is insufficient to meet our growth, our population growth. So I'd be as a homeowner, I'm not overly unhappy about my property values going up, but I think it's the irrational, excitement that people had a couple of years ago that their properties would just continue to go up and up forever.
Yeah.
But, what goes up comes down. So, overall, I think, and just as a businessman myself, I'm finding that I'm having many more productive conversations. I'm hiring people again. I'm selling more magazines and.
But just to be which is great, that's really positive, that's excellent news, but just to be the pessimist here, we've got this looming US debt crisis. They still haven't come to an agreement. How fragile is our economy that their problems can affect us?
We're fragile in the sense that we're totally plugged into the global economy, so the prices of, all the things we import are going to be affected by that. The US is a significant trading partner.
Yeah.
But, one of the strange things about New Zealand is it does seem to be sort of counter-cyclical. Often when the Northern Hemisphere is up, we're down, and when they're down, we're up. And I think that reflects reflects historical cycles, but also with money being on a global scale, it can move around. A lot of money is money is always looking for safety.
Mm.
And one of the reasons New Zealand dollar is quite high is because compared to Europe and America, even compared to Australia now, we're a relatively safe place for people to put their money.
What do you think the reaction from investors and money market people will be if America defaults? Will everyone just withdraw all their money from wherever and keep it safe and close to them?
People have tended to go back to things like gold and other parts of money does shift around the world, like I said. So there's that. So much of this is affected by confidence, isn't it? So if there's a feeling that the US, politically can't get it together and can't meet its debt obligations, that will have a really dramatic effect on the confidence of in bonds and in those kind of more secure assets.
Yeah.
If the secure assets ain't secure, it does affect markets quite significantly. Where do people put their money? Where do people put their confidence?
Yeah.
I know. Turns out money's not that reliable.
Okay, well, we look forward to the groundhog coming out today, later on, this morning, and
Yep.
We'll see what he does.
We'll see what he does. Everyone's picking he won't do much.
No.
I'd like that job. That sounds good.
It does sound good, doesn't it?
Hey, one other quick thing. We are promoting We Can Create, which is the old, it's a big arts and creativity conference that happens in August. It used to be semi-permanent. Remember that?
Oh, yes, yeah.
So We Can Create. And if you go to our site, we are giving away some tickets.
Over at idealog.co.nz. Nice one, Vincent. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Wemo.